I'm Brooke Brown from Teach Outside the Box. Welcome to my classroom. I am busy prepping all the things for the Hour of Code that's coming up very soon. I have all kinds of different low prep lessons that I'm excited to share with you to help your students celebrate the power of coding. So if you're not familiar with the Hour of Code, it is a week in December every year where students all over the world are either trying coding for the first time or they are practicing coding with their friends. And now we can look at coding in an unplugged way. I'm going to show you all different kinds of unplugged methods to try with your kids. Many kids are also going to be using coding apps and websites that I've been using with my kids for many years in my class. And you can also incorporate coding with robotics. So I'm going to show you some easy challenges to try with your kids if you're interested in diving into robotics as well. So all the things I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to link in the product description below, all the different products, as well as some of the read alouds that I'm going to use to kick off the Hour of Code. So I hope you're excited to get started. So if you follow me, you know that I love kicking off lessons with a powerful read aloud that ties to the content that we're studying. And my favorite book to kick off the Hour of Code is called How to Code a Sandcastle by Josh Funk. This is a wonderful way to connect coding to the real world for our students, going through those basic functions of sequencing and conditions and loops and tying it to the steps to build a sandcastle. There's also a brand new book in this series that is really more appropriate for the older ones called How to Code a Roller Coaster. I would recommend this one for second grade and up because it goes a little bit more into functions as an extension of more complex coding. Both wonderful ways to connect coding to the real world for our students and make them relevant and meaningful. One of my favorite ways to introduce coding to my students is through interactive hopscotch coding. This is a wonderful way to get your kids up and moving or for them to actually experience the different pieces of code as they build sequences on the floor together. So I have different pieces that they can put together to build their sequences of code. They can do this many, many times. This also works for a wonderful coding center that you can incorporate any time of year. So your students are going to build the sequence of code starting with the starting square. They're going to use the yellow squares. Those are going to be representative of the sequencing. So they can go up, they can go back, and they can go sideways with the sequencing arrows. We also have lots of different conditions. And in this case, our conditions are going to be actions that the students are going to do. So it might be stomping, it might be clapping, it might be spinning, something interactive. We call conditions if-thens. So when they get to that particular square, if they land on it, then they get to do that particular action. And then finally, they also have some looping spaces that they can add onto the back of the conditions. This is a common coding structure that is used all the time so that coders don't have to repeat the same sequences of code over and over. So instead of doing 2 claps, your students can put a repeat behind that clap, and when they stand on that particular condition, they know that they get to clap 2 times. So they finish their code, and then they finally add their stop square at the very end. And my son Bo is going to demonstrate how that works in the classroom. Here we go. Good job. Oh. And then 2 times. There's a loop. Good job. Hands up. Stomp. And 4 claps. Good. And pat your knees. Good job. Keep going. You're almost done. Good job, Bo. You went all the way through the code. So this is a brand new edition of Hopscotch Coding. It is called Hopscotch Dance Party, and it is designed specifically for 2nd graders, 3rd graders, 4th graders, and 5th graders. So this is the perfect grown-up big kid version of Hopscotch Coding. So instead of your kids doing a simple action when they get to those specific conditions, they are going to do a popular dance move, such as the floss and the dab and the running man and the whip. And so we also have added in some functions to step up that level of complexity for our big kids. This is my daughter Ellie, and she's going to show you Hopscotch Dance Party. Ready? So there's her function that we created, freestyle and Gangnam. Floss with a loop 2 times.
Twist 4 times. And then flip. And then a running man. Dab. And then
And that's Hopscotch Dance Party. You smile? Sweet girl. My third favorite way for my students to practice coding is through an unplugged coding partner activity. This one is actually called Gingerbread Coding, and it is a free download in my TPT shop. I will put a link below for you to try that. So I start as early as kindergarten with this unplugged coding with my kids. It is very simple. Students partner up, and partner 1 builds the code on the map, and partner 2 writes the code to match. So if I were partner 1, I would start with one of the gingerbread men, and I would choose where I would like to end my map, somewhere on the coding map. And now I'm going to build a path all the way from the start of my gingerbread man to the gingerbread house. These pieces, candy pieces right here, are going to be my path pieces. The colors do not matter. They can use any colors that they'd like. So we have our sequencing getting from the gingerbread man to the gingerbread house. And the next step, we are going to start adding in some conditions. And one of those conditions is going to be a treat. So you are going to choose 2 treats to add to your gingerbread map. You can put them anywhere along the path. You're also going to add 1 enemy to the path. And we know some of the famous enemies from the gingerbread man are a cow and a fox. So I'm going to choose to add the fox right here. Okay, so now your students are ready to draw and write a block code that is going to match this particular map. And they're going to be using these coding symbols as they are working through the sequence of code. So the arrows mean to move right, left, up, or down. If they arrive on a square with a treat, they are going to draw a smiley face. That is the code that is going to match eat a treat. And then when they reach an enemy, they're going to draw a frowny face that is going to allow their gingerbread man to jump over that enemy. So if I was going to draw the code to match this particular map, I start here in the first direction. I'm going to go up. So the students would draw an upward arrow on the first sequence of code. Then they're going to go up again. But when they arrive up on this particular square, they get to eat a treat. So they're going to draw a smiley face on that particular square. They're going to go up again. And then up again. To the right. And so on. So partner 1 can kind of check partner 2's work as he is writing the sequence of code to match the map. After you are finished, you're going to erase the code, clear the map, and then the partners are going to switch places. I do have these unplugged coding activities for every single month in my TPT shop, as well as a discounted bundle if you're interested in purchasing them for the entire year. After I've exposed my students to some different forms of unplugged coding, then they are then ready to jump in with some coding apps and websites. And this is the 4th lesson that I share with them during my weekly hour of code. So my personal favorite coding app is Codable. It is appropriate for all grade levels. It is a wonderful way to introduce even the youngest students in pre-K and kindergarten to coding. Box Island is also a huge favorite. Code.org is wonderful for 2nd grade specifically and up. They have some wonderful lessons on there. Dance Party is one of my favorites that you can do with your kids. Scratch Junior, Bebot, and Swift Playgrounds are also